Today our topic is how to apply Stoic principles to modern life. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to live a good life by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. It was created by thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, and even though it is very old, its lessons are still useful today. In fact, they might be even more useful now because modern life is full of stress, distractions, and things that can make us feel overwhelmed. Stoicism gives us tools to handle these challenges with calmness and strength. Let's talk about how you can use these principles in your daily life. The first Stoic principle is to focus on what you can control. This is the most important idea in Stoicism. In life, there are many things we cannot control. For example, we cannot control the weather, other people's opinions, or traffic jams. But we can control how we react to these things. Stoics say that we should spend our energy on the things we can change, like our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. For example, if someone is rude to you, you cannot control their behavior, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to stay calm and not let their words upset you. This is a simple idea, but it is very powerful. When you focus on what you can control, you feel less stressed and more in charge of your life. Another Stoic principle is to accept what happens to you. Life is full of surprises, and not all of them are good. Sometimes things go wrong, and we face problems like losing a job, failing at something, or even losing someone we love. Stoics teach us to accept these things as part of life. They say that suffering is not caused by the events themselves, but by our thoughts about those events. For example, if you lose your job, you might feel upset and worried. But if you accept that this has happened and focus on finding a new job, you will feel better. Stoics call this Amor Fati, which means love of fate. It means that you should not fight against what happens to you, but accept it and find a way to move forward. This does not mean you should not try to improve your life, but it means you should not waste energy being angry or sad about things you cannot change. Stoicism also teaches us to practice gratitude. In modern life, we often focus on what we do not have. We want more money, a better job, or a bigger house. But Stoics say that we should be grateful for what we already have. They remind us that we are lucky to have food, shelter, and people who care about us. When you practice gratitude, you realize that you already have enough to be happy. For example, instead of complaining about your small apartment, you can be grateful that you have a safe place to live. Instead of being jealous of someone's success, you can be happy for them and focus on your own goals. Gratitude helps us see the good things in our lives and stops us from always wanting more. Another important Stoic principle is to prepare for difficulties. Stoics believe that we should not expect life to be easy. They say that we should think about the challenges we might face and be ready for them. This is called premeditatio malorum, which means premeditation of evils. It does not mean you should be negative or worry all the time, but it means you should be realistic. For example, if you have a job interview, you can think about what might go wrong and how you will handle it. If you lose your phone, you can think about how you will manage without it. When you prepare for difficulties, you feel more confident and less afraid. You also learn to handle problems better when they happen. Stoicism also teaches us to live in the present moment. In modern life, we often worry about the future or regret the past. We think about what might happen or what we should have done differently. But Stoics say that the only moment we can control is the present. They remind us that the past is gone, and the future is not here yet. The only time we have is now. When you focus on the present, you can enjoy life more and worry less. For example, instead of worrying about a meeting tomorrow, you can focus on what you are doing right now. Instead of regretting a mistake you made yesterday, you can learn from it and move on. Living in the present helps us feel more peaceful and happy. Another Stoic principle is to practice self-discipline. In modern life, we are often tempted by things like junk food, social media, or laziness. Stoics say that we should control our desires and not let them control us. They believe that self-discipline is the key to freedom. When you practice self-discipline, you become stronger and more in control of your life. For example, instead of eating a whole bag of chips, you can choose to eat just a few. Instead of spending hours on your phone, you can decide to read a book or go for a walk. Self-discipline helps you make better choices and live a healthier, more balanced life. Stoicism also teaches us to be kind and fair to others. Stoics believe that we are all part of a bigger community and that we should treat others with respect. They say that we should not judge people too quickly or get angry at them. Instead, we should try to understand them and be patient. For example, if someone makes a mistake, you can think about why they did it and how you can help them. If someone is rude to you, you can remember that they might be having a bad day and not take it personally. When you are kind and fair to others, you create better relationships and make the world a better place. Finally, Stoicism teaches us to reflect on our lives. Stoics believe that we should take time every day to think about how we are living. They say that we should ask ourselves questions like, did I do my best today? Did I treat others well? Did I focus on what is important? This practice helps us learn from our mistakes and improve ourselves. For example, at the end of the day, you can think about what went well and what you could have done better. You can write down your thoughts in a journal or just think about them quietly. Reflection helps us grow and become better people. In conclusion, Stoic principles are very useful for modern life. They teach us to focus on what we can control, accept what happens, practice gratitude, prepare for difficulties, live in the present, practice self-discipline, be kind to others, and reflect on our lives. These principles help us handle stress, make better choices, and live a happier, more meaningful life. Stoicism does not promise that life will be easy, but it gives us tools to face challenges with strength and calmness. If you practice these principles, you will feel more in control of your life and less affected by things you cannot change. Remember, the goal of Stoicism is not to avoid emotions or become cold, but to live a good life with wisdom, courage, and kindness. So start applying these principles today, and you will see how they can make a big difference in your life.